The Royal Rumble is over, and well, a lot of people are already queuing probably the IWC without even looking, or the Facebook pages. Oh, it's the part time season again. The part timers. Sure, they're going to be tuning in after April, folks. The ones that just like to crush WWE for whatever reason, every chance they get, because it's the cool thing now to do. And yes, some of them have tuned out, and they're like, according to them, they'll be back here. They'll check back in after April. Listen, the fact of the matter is, a lot of these people, a lot of these part timers, these are, I mean, they're over. They're the ones that people want to see. I mean, if you're on TV every single week and you cannot get over, then there is a problem. If you are over, you will be on WrestleMania. If you're not over, you won't be on WrestleMania. You never had a spot. I don't know why it's so difficult to fully understand, and how everyone is always up in arms whenever we come full circle to a WrestleMania season. We had the Royal Rumble, which is the official first stop. Road to WrestleMania begins after the Royal Rumble. The first match we see, just some thoughts here. First match we seen Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. I thought it was very cool part here. That Seth is definitely in Roman Reigns' head. Comes out in old Shield gear. Full 9, Seth Rollins, old Shield gear. Through the stands with the Shield music. You remember wrestling back then when the Shield was running together, how the pop would be for the Shield. And there he was. And it will be, I think, of an important part with Seth Rollins being in the Shield gear. It's key towards the end of the match as to what happens. So it's a lot of back and forth, and it was a lot of this where you actually thought Seth Rollins was going to win. He was laughing most of the time. He, because he was in Roman Reigns' head, laughing. At one point, he wants to do the Shield fist bump, bring it into the middle, taunting Roman Reigns and having control most of the match. The tie did turn a few times here and there. But the match finished with the guillotine. Roman Reigns does not want to let go of the guillotine. Is disqualified. Loses. Still keeps the belt. But Seth Rollins wins by DQ. Now, the match is over, and you remember from SmackDown Friday night, Roman Reigns has told Seth Rollins on that Friday night face to face that he hates Seth Rollins for what he did to the Shield. And, he would never forget him. So, what happens is after the match, Roman Reigns grabs a chair and he attacks Seth Rollins attacks him with a steel chair to the back. Same way Seth Rollins did a few years before that, right to the back of Roman Reigns. You recall that Friday night SmackDown, that face-to-face, he said, Roman Reigns, I will never forget you. He said, Seth Rollins, I will never forget for what you did to us, the Shield. So Roman Reigns, had that vision, I think, in his head as to what happened years ago, and this was his way of avenging what happened that night. years back when Seth Rollins turned his back. The actual Women's Royal Rumble was up next. Listen, some surprises. Summer Rae. They did a good match. WWE did a good job. Kind of built in stories already for the people that were in the Royal Rumble. Everyone had someone to pair off with, in a sense, right? You had Summer Rae in that whole interaction with Natalya. You had Cameron came back. Cameron had that interaction with the woman wrestler authority figure. Her name just slips my mind just now. But, she had that interaction with Cameron because Cameron is Naomi's friend. So they had that interaction. Molly Holly, which I came in there, and as the Super Molly Holly, just absolutely blindsided by Nikki ASH. Only one superhero in this town, ain't it? You had, Melina. You felt bad for what happened with Melina. She was in there in that interaction with Sasha Banks. I don't know if Sasha just lost her balance and she she knocked herself out of it, or something went wrong with that. It just seemed awkward for Melina, who was just in and out pretty much. I'm sure there was a misstep, or maybe she slipped in and out. You've seen Sasha Banks, which is good. Some people are up in arms that Sasha Banks was thrown out pretty early in the contest. Listen, she was thrown out pretty early in the contest because she's coming back from an injury that probably sooner than later, and they're trying to keep the interaction, what Sasha Banks is doing at a minimum. They're not trying to rush her back quickly, so that's why she was knocked out early. And Mickie James, they did the whole graphic with the Impact coming out to Hardcore Country with the Impact title. Listen, yeah, in a sense, this maybe closes the chapter. It rights a wrong, so to speak, with Mickie James. Wasn't embarrassed there at all. Had a good presentation. Was knocked out by Lita, which is fine because, Lita and Mickie James had their interactions in the past. There was history. It was done respectfully. Listen, a lot of people are making this whole notion of of her gear being thrown in a bag. That's how it was done for everyone before. The first time around, when people are released. What are they going to put in a duffel bag that says WWE duffel bag? What are they going to put it in? A whole nother story. I gave my thoughts on that for another day. It seems like there's no hard feelings. I do expect Mickie James to be in the WWE back again, into the Hall of Fame, probably sooner rather than later. You've seen Right to Censor. Right to Censor was great back in the day. Ivory, who looks like just dressed up now and at 60 still looks the same. Good for her. Obviously not able to take as many bumps like she used to, but she's still in great shape. Right to Censor, that was definitely a pop for me. And again, like the women's Royal Battle Royal, compared it to the men's Battle Royal, the women's Battle Royal was better. I think, again, just everyone had someone to be paired off with, and everyone was able to tell a story. And it's much different. Everything was organized. You could tell it was means a lot to a lot of the people that are in the WWE Universe for Melina. To run in, get something from the fridge. Watching the AFC Super Championship game, which is a great matchup as well. Ronda Rousey won. Yes, she's still part of the WWE. In case you guys forgot, her contract, I'm pretty sure, was frozen there for a period of time. But she's going on. She's going on to WrestleMania. I think it's the matchup that everyone has expected, the matchup that everyone wants to see, and that is Charlotte versus Ronda. Everyone wants to see Charlotte have her ass kicked. And Becky Lynch, I think it's going to be just how we're going to get there. Maybe through Elimination Chamber win. I think it's going to be Bianca Belair versus Becky, and everyone wants to see Becky get her ass kicked. And that's a storyline there with Becky and Bianca that's been brewing for a year, and it's rightful you could go back to that story now. You're going back to that story. A lot of layers to tell in that story a year later. By the way, the Bellas were back. I don't know if they're going to be here for WrestleMania or if they're going away, but they wound up, one of the Bellas wound up eliminating the other Bella. Maybe that's a matchup that we see kind of last hurrah. The men's battle royal, I expected some surprises there. We didn't get that. Kind of just went along, and you kind of, after you've seen Brock Lesnar lose to Brock Lesnar did lose to Bobby Lashley. Roman Reigns interfered. Paul Heyman turned his back on Brock Lesnar. Gave the belt to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns knocked him with the belt. Bobby Lashley wins. So whether it's outside interference, whatever, it lessens it. But Bobby Lashley needed that win. He needed that win. The one thing to put him up there as far as legitimacy and being a champion. He did win. Can't say that he has not beat Brock Lesnar, because he has. Now, would it be through help, or that's not, that's a footnote to it, but he has beaten Brock Lesnar. So, kind of once we seen Brock Lesnar losing, I was not at all surprised that he was in the Royal Rumble. And I was not at all surprised that he won the Royal Rumble, because, like I said, I think from the very beginning, and unfortunately, COVID kind of messed up this whole storyline, and it's messed up Big E's title reign too. I think if Roman hadn't gotten sick, Big E would still be champion. But I expected that win from Brock Lesnar at the Rumble, because I expected the match of Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. So now we're here again. And it was predictable. I can't say anything that we've seen was kind of left me in shock. I think it was very predictable, and we've seen where the storylines were heading, and kind of that's what unfolded. If I were to look at this pay-per-view, I think it was a good pay-per-view. I think it was a good pay-per-view. The crowd was into it. I'd probably give this pay-per-view a good, solid B. Definitely worth watching and looking over again. Brief overview. You had the match between Miz and Maurice versus Edge and